Hello everyone, my name is Torinja and welcome to this little video rant discussion thing, where as you can tell from the title, I am talking about little changes that I think Overwatch can make. Now when I say little changes, I mean little changes. This isn't something to like buff this ability or anything like this. This is purely almost like more aesthetic or just little bits of UI, I don't know what the words to use to describe this, but it's not any sort of balance changes. I just feel like it'd be things that could change. Now, the first one I want to say, and because I know a lot of people won't want to watch this entire video, so I'll just get my main point across first, and my main point is to do with Symetra. Now, Symetra herself, as like a character and her kit, I have absolutely no problems with it. If anything, I actually find her quite fun, especially with her lack of aiming of a kit, or a kit that has lack of aiming. Anyway, the problem I have with her is that I think she is misclassed as a support. Because as you know, she is one of the now 5 support characters in the game, yet she is the only one who I feel doesn't really qualify as a support. Now, I had a thought about this, and if we had like a little grid thing up about what makes a support, if we look at the now 4 other supports, every single one of them has a heal of some kind, whether it be on various lengths, AoE, whatever. And then the other ones will all have at least two attributes of they'll have 2 attributes of these 3 things. They'll either have a buff, a debuff, or an AoE ultimate. Now, Anna is the only one who doesn't have an AoE ultimate, but then she is the only one who has a buff and a debuff. But at the end of the day, they all heal. Now, Symetra, on the other hand, falls under none of these traits. She does not have a heal, she does not have a buff or a debuff, unless you count those 25 health shields. But apart from that, she doesn't really, I don't feel like she fits in it at all. She has turrets, which can be seen next to Torinja, who also has a turret, and that falls under defense. She has the 25 health shields, which I mentioned. Like, Torinja gives 75 armor, so it's very similar to Torinja, who is a defense hero. And when I had this discussion with my friend Evan, or Omega, whatever you want to call him, you know, in my videos, he said, nah, she's classed as a support because of her ultimate, because it's utility based instead of an offensive based like Molten Core, say, with Torinja. But, with that logic, if a utility based ultimate made a character support, then why isn't Widowmaker a support? Because her ultimate is purely utility. It gives vision of the enemy for a short amount of time. Just because utility doesn't mean that they should be classed as a support, I feel. She is purely a defense hero. She only works really on defense. If you pick her on attack, people are like, oh, what are you doing? She does not work on attack. She work on defense. That's why I feel she should be classed as a defense instead of support. Now, I know if you were talking about number of heroes in a category, it would bring support down to the lowest again, and it would bring defense to the highest, which is when it's one of the 2, alongside offense. But I feel like it's the right place for Symetra to be, because she doesn't really fit into a proper support role, as she's the only one who doesn't heal. Now, the second topic I want to talk is, these are more sort of like little things I just feel like would just be a little more like fun. They're not necessarily like needed or like necessarily changeable. None of these are needed because they don't really change anything, but I just feel like it'd just be nice, you know. And the second one I want to talk about is skin selection. Now, as you all know, if you go into the hero gallery, you can select your skin from in that screen. But I think it would be quite cool if, when selecting your hero, just off to like the right a little, you could select a skin to use from your unlocks. This means, I know this would imply, say, skin switching from in-game and such, which might not work because of the loading options and everything, which I'll go into that in a second. But I feel like it'd be more fun, because someone, say like myself, who has multiple good skins for a hero, like I've got all of Diva's skins and like a couple Lucio legendaries, I know I've got some like good skins for multiple heroes, and the fact to change that I would have to back out the game and then change it and then go back into a new one might not be always that fun. And I feel like having that flow of having that skin selection would be just quite nice. Now, probably the only reason why I even mention this is because I've almost been a bit spoiled, you could say, from League. And anyone who's played League knows that you pick your hero, and then afterwards you pick your skin from your selection. You don't have to, before going into a game, select your skin for each hero, which you kind of have to do for Overwatch at the moment. You select your hero, and then you can select your skin after that. Now, the reason why this, I presume this isn't in the game, is probably due to like sort of loading. And what I mean by that is that I imagine at the moment when loading into a game, the Overwatch as a program operates in like, okay, so this player has these 22 models, this player has these certain 22 models, and so on and so forth. But if it was to implement skins, then it'd be like, oh, this person has like 100 models they have to load just in case beforehand, and this one has to load like another 50 odd or whatever, and it would just create a lot more loading time, I'd imagine. But if that isn't the case, and it just loads it on, like, it has nothing to do with preloading, then why not? It'd just be good, you know? And the third one I want to say, which is a very minor feature, but I just think it'd be a nice touch, sort of like the skin selection, is to do with the voice lines and emotes and all that stuff. So anyone who has tried to equip a highlight intro before will know that one of the options is random. Now I feel, basically this is my whole point is, I want this random feature on more selections. Especially things like voice, like I feel it would just create a little more like, it would stop the game from feeling as repetitive, from having a bit of RNG in it. But like nothing that really, not RNG obviously that changes the game, but more just aesthetic RNG. Like voice lines could be random, considering people normally, because they're grey rarity, you get a lot of them. People will have many voice lines for many characters. Like, say, I think I got a ton for Pharaoh, for example, but I only used one of them, because I can't, because voice lines aren't a big enough deal to go out and change, unlike skins, for example, because if you get a legendary skin, you're like, oh, I want to change to that, but if you get a voice line, it's like, it's a voice line, who really cares? But having the randomness would just make it a little, make each game a little more fresh, if you get what I mean. But when I also said this, because I discussed all these ideas with my friends, and Evan even once again pointed out something. But this one, he said you could even go as far as to say whenever you pressed or you did a voice line, or you pressed your button to voice line, it would do a random selection. So each time you press it, it would do a random one from the ones you've unlocked. Now, I feel like this could have a similar effect as to why the skin selection isn't in, but because obviously the loading things, like, oh, this character has this line, but instead it might have you like, oh, this character can have any of these lines, and you got to, whenever you press it, it's got to choose a random one, which would probably increase loading times and stuff, and I feel like that would be why it wouldn't be in the game. But if not, then why not? But I feel like this could even go into emotes and like victory poses as well, that when you get into a game, you have a random selected like victory pose and emote for that character if you've got multiple of them. Now, skins would be a bit different, as you could have a bit of fun with it, but I just feel like having, if they have the random feature already as a function for one thing, why not just expand it into other fields of a loadout, if you want to call it a loadout. I think it would just keep the game a little from getting a little, it would just keep it fresh a little. Obviously, it wouldn't be that much of a change to be like, oh look, the new hero, because that's probably something that gives it fresh, or new maps or whatever. But just the tiny little things, because you know the little things are what get you through life and all that cliche crap. But anyway, that's my ideas for little things. Emphasis on little, because they are small little things that I think Overwatch could do to just overall sort of improve the flow of the game. But anyway, I have been Torinja. I hope you all enjoyed this scriptless little rant thing, and I will see you all in the next video.